Hey guys, so as you may know, I film all my scenes at home on a couple small tables I own. Originally it was a 60 by 100 centimeter table, which is like 2 by 3 and a bit feet. And then I moved out to a 180 by 120 centimeter table, so that's, I don't know, like 6 by 9 feet maybe, I'm not entirely sure. And that's really not big enough for me, so I've been planning over the last couple years even to build a huge 3 meter by 3 meter layout, and I'm hoping that it'll be awesome. And this video will show you a few of my plans and the planning process that's gone into it. So basically I have a huge folder with all the stuff in it, and this is everything that's in the folder. What I'm going to do is go quickly through everything, and then we'll get to the important bits later on.
So real quick, the first thing on the list is just a few drawings I've done when I was bored. That was the Flying Scotsman. This is the cab of an old Hull class. That was a drawing of some the narrow gauge engines. I suppose just my favourite ones. This was a drawing inspired by The Adventure Begins, because that was like one of my favourite specials, second to, say, Thompson Magic Railroad. And that was just a little doodle I did for Lower Sodor Station, which I'm not really proud of at all. Here I've got some scripts that I've been working on for episodes which I may do in the future, as well as ideas for scripts and all that. I'm not going to read them, of course.
Also in the folder I've got a bunch of these random bits of paper which are planning individual bits. This is actually a part of a huge 6-page spread of one of the earlier plans for my layout, which is basically defunct now. And this one on the top, that's a later plan, but this other one on the top here was a thing I did in Hornby Trackmaster, which is a track building program, and that's how I figure out the price of all the track I need to get. So basically what I do is I make the plan of all the track, then I make a copy of that plan, and I delete all the bits of track I already own, and that leaves me with just the stuff I have to buy, and then that tells me the price as well, and how many I need of each piece of track and whatnot. So that's how I work out the prices.
These are basically notes regarding stuff for the layout. I'm not going to read them, they're all very boring, just about stuff I need to buy or stuff I need to fix up or plan better, that kind of thing.
So now we'll get onto the actual layout plans, and how I did this was basically I made 3 copies of each plan I made. One was the original, which I didn't touch. One I drew all little details onto, like the stuff you can't add in Trackmaster, like trees and everything. And the third one I used to make little alterations, in case I wanted to change plans and whatnot.
But what you really want to see, I'm sure, is the latest plans. So I'm going to go through all the plans I've done really quickly and tell you why I changed them, what changed. So this was the first one. Pretty minimalistic. I had Knapford Station, I had Tidmouth Station, Elsbridge Station, Tidmouth Holt, Wellsworth Station, Brendam Docks, Tidmouth Sheds, and a very bad Anofa Quarry up here. And Lower Sodor, if I didn't say that. I was happy with this plan at the time, but as I looked at it more and more, I realised all the problems. For example, Tidmouth Sheds does not look accurate. If these are the sheds up here, then we should have tracks coming out down here. But instead I've got one going into the side, and I really don't like that. So I've changed that. Anofa Quarry I didn't like. Oh yeah, there was also Farquhar Station there, which was right next to Brendam Docks, which I thought was bad as well. Knapford Station, since this is the front, the engines had basically no straight track, straight in front of them like they do in the TV series. Also, there was no track here, so that wasn't really a good plan. So instead, I moved on to the next incarnation. This one is a lot more detailed, and I also added notes at the bottom, which I'm not going to read. I changed a few things. For example, I plan to add a little track over here, going down to a shed to make this have 2 tracks on the far side as well. I wanted to change the way the points went up the top. This, by the way, is going to be Gordon's Hill. This big, just straight bit over there. And I changed little things like this, the length of sidings and whatnot, but that's all very boring. Let's move on to the next one. Here I started to make some big changes. So as you can see, Tidmouth Sheds has changed. It's been moved over a bit, and now we've got almost a track coming out of there. I just had to have it go around this way because I couldn't really have any tighter of a curve. I also changed the shape of this inner loop over here, which is the Little Western. I had a siding come into here instead, and this was basically the sheds that you see in some season 5 episodes, I think, with the like old slow coach and whatnot, and building the new station around Tidmouth Holt. Oh, maybe season 3. I don't know. But a few changes there. Oh, also I had this little bit coming off here for Farquhar Station, which I really didn't like. The next plan was a little bit different. I added more sidings up here. I also changed round here. I now had this, what was originally a siding, continue all the way up around here to make a second loop in the middle loop, and that's where I put Farquhar Station now, which I thought was a much better idea. And I have like a little siding over here with a coal hopper. Tidmouth Holt still there, and that was basically the main changes over here. So the next plan was this one. Now I changed Tidmouth's sheds around, so instead of facing that way, now it faces this way. So now we actually do have the straight tracks going into the front of it here, which I thought was really good. I also had a little siding up here, which this configuration here is madness, so I changed that next time. And that was the main change for that one, because I was just really getting pissed at Tidmouth sheds. Right, so in this plan, the main difference here was I fixed up this siding over here. Like I said, that was too crazy for my liking. And that was basically the only change. I also added in some framework for a road, which is subject to change, of course. The next plan got very detailed as well. Sometimes I go a little bit overboard with the detail. I changed the settings a little bit up here just to make it a little more nice to look at. I think these sidings down here changed a little bit. This was now going to be that little area you see at All at Sea at the end, you know, the really nice shot with looking over the water with Thomas Duck and Percy. That was the main change from that. This also up here was now a little quarry kind of thing. You know, in like Tale of the Brave, when you see there's a track running along the ground, and then there's big cliffs on either side. That's what this was kind of going to be. That's what these things are there. That's changed a little bit. As you can see here, this next plan is a little bit more detailed. This is now like an elaborate quarry. This is basically the China clay pit. This here is a big rock face. That's a little rock. That's a little rock face as well. And we have a shed in the middle. This here is Brendam Docks. So if I cover that up, what you now see, that's all Knapford Quarry and whatnot. Oh, China clay pits, whatever you want to call it. And also, at this time, the Bachmann's narrow gauge range was announced. So I added, as you can see here, a little narrow gauge line, which this was going to be a small shed area, this would be a small station, the incline, and then this part was going to be the that little road by rail pass where George knocked Sir Handel's trucks off the tracks in the steamroller. So that was the main difference on there. So now I've also got to accommodate for a different kind of railway. This is the next one. What I did here was I changed Knapford Station. I gave it the straight tracks in the front, which I wanted to give it, by simply just moving the rest of it back. But the main difference, I think, on this one was the narrow gauge railway. Now I've got the sheds down here, a small station was going to be here, and then this would go up, and this would cross over the tracks, and then it would go down over here, and then this would be the Castle Causeway over the water here, and then under a tunnel, and then up a hill, and then this was cross over the tracks leading into the quarry, and then go around the top of the cliffs, kind of Blue Mountain Mystery style, or you know, Blue Mountain Quarry, and then this was cross over here, and then back down here, and this would be the incline here, and it'd be a little loop. I've fine-tuned that since to make it a little bit better, and I'll show that soon. Then this was when the narrow gauge started to really evolve. So instead of having sheds here, now they're down here, and I had a little line coming through here. I had to get rid of the track connecting these two here, because that would not work with the narrow gauge railway, so I moved it up to here instead. So yeah, now this is Crovan's Gate instead of Tidmouth or Tidmouth Holt or whatever it was. And then this would go uphill here, and then stay uphill, and this would still be the road by rail thing from Steamroller, and then come round the quarry again, and then this would be Glenelg Station, which, if you don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up on the wiki. And this would be Skarloey Station, and then this would be the incline down here, and I've also included this little triangle like you see in the TV series. And that was the main difference on there. And then this here was the next plan. I think basically the only change was just this little siding down here, so that's not really important. Then this was the next one. What I did here was I extended this side of the loop down a little bit to accommodate a little bit more space for the incline and the narrow gauge railway, just to make it a little bit more spacious up there. And I think that was the only change for that one. Oh, and also, just before I forget, I came up with this idea to have kind of like a roll-out water thing for the docks over here, where you know those keyboard desks you put underneath your desk that you kind of roll out, and you've got your keyboard on it, and you can use that there, and you can roll it back in when you're done. I was kind of going to use one of them for the water over there, so I can conserve space around the edge, because this is 3 meters by 3 meters, remember. It's going to be hard to find a room to accommodate that, especially in Australia where I live, where well, I've just got an apartment, so not much space for me. In any case, this was the next plan. What I did here was extend, well, more like retract this end of the loop in a little bit to accommodate an extra platform and a big building for Knapford Station over here, because originally this was just 3 roofs and then tiny buildings over here with no roof, but it should really be 4 buildings, and that was going to annoy me if I just left it with 3 roofs. So I'm going to make it very accurate to how the TV series is, and that was basically the only change for that. Now this next one I did after I saw The Adventure Begins, because I've added a little bit of a yard to the edge of Knapford Station here, and I moved the whole thing over a little bit just to accommodate that, which is still leaving a little bit of space there as well. And I also changed this siding at Wellsworth Station here as well, but that's not really important. But I wasn't happy with that siding at Knapford, so I've changed it. Now, as you can see, this part over here is extended a little bit, and that was basically the only change for that. I'm not entirely sure why I did a whole plan for that, but I did. And I also added the gantries, which are subject for change because I'm not entirely sure where they should be. Then it started to get a little bit more intricate. I've added a whole part up here where you can go straight and then curve back around to connect to the track again. And this piece here was going to be a double slip point. If you don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up. But the only one I could buy was a Pico one. But I didn't realize at the time that the angles at which the points go off is a different angle to what's on here. It's more like an express point angle, which I'm not going to use express points, so I had to scrap that idea. Took me a while to realize that though. As you can see, still in this plan, I've still got the double slip point here. And I think also I changed down here some of the points and crossovers just to make it easier for running trains around the layout. And that brings us to our latest incarnation of the layout. Now what I did, I wasn't happy with Knapford Yard, and I realised that I couldn't do the double slip point, So I used this big space on the table here, and I built the Knapford Station I was going to do, and then added the yard on and saw what it looked like. And this is what I came up with. So now it's very straight. There's no double slip points. Basically, you continue out of here, and you can cross over these 2 tracks and then onto this 3rd one, and you can also continue out to there. I'm very happy with this one. As you can see, I'm extending a little one more track piece there. That was just drawing with pencil. And so that's what I'm going to stick with, I think. I'm also going to have like a little bit of wood sticking off the table, because this is now going over 3 meters, which is something I didn't want to do, but I have no choice really. And oh, I forgot to mention at the start actually, this bit in the middle, as you may see, is a standing space, just so I can reach across the layout, because I'm not going to be able to reach 1.5 meters in just to grab stuff and fix stuff, so I had to have a little bit of space in the middle. And that is the latest plan. Look it over, tell me what you think. I'm going to run through the stations real quick just so you know where they are. This up here is Knapford, of course. Then you continue down the main line and you get to Elsbridge Station, because as you know I'm Elsbridge Productions on YouTube, so that has to be Elsbridge Station. Then you continue up to Wellsworth Station, which may also serve as like Crosby and whatnot if I needed to. Then you go to Brendam Docks. Then up here, this was going to be Gordon's Hill, however, my Bachmann engines cannot make it up any kind of incline really, especially not with a train. So that's no longer going to be Gordon's Hill. You continue down, you also you go back into Knapford Station, but if you take the siding off of Wellsworth here, you can go into the quarry over here, or you can continue round to Tidmouth Sheds. But if you go this way at the points down here, this was originally where Lower Sodor Station was, but it's really small, so I had to get rid of it. You continue down here, you can go back to the main line if you want, or you continue round to Farquhar Station, which is on this little loop here, or you can go down to Crovan's Gate down here. And now the narrow gauge railway, this would be the sheds from season 4, which I've actually designed with a laser cutter and cut them out, so I've got them. I just got to build them and glue them together and whatnot. Then you can continue around to Crovan's Gate, then you'll go up a hill here. This would be the road by rail little thing from Steamroller again, because I really like that place. I'm not entirely sure why. Then you continue around the quarry, Blue Mountain quarry style, and then you go down here. You can go into the incline over here with the little triangular point kind of thing, or you continue around to this station here, which is probably Skarloey or something along the lines of that. And that is basically the whole layout. Just so you know, the shaded areas are hills, and the big squares are most likely stations or signal boxes or something along the lines of that, or sheds or something. So that's basically it. If you have any ideas for how I can improve the layout or stuff to add, please let me know in the comments. I really like your input, because I'm always changing this. This is only like a week old, this plan. I'm sorry this video is taking so long to get to you. It's just so hard to try and make this not boring, and it probably still is boring, but I suppose that's too bad. So yeah, so if you have any ideas for the layouts or any ideas for videos I can make, let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can do them. And before I go, I'm going to set up that big 6-page spread of the original layout, which is changed now, but I'm going to set it up anyway, just to show you what it was like. I did that with a friend, actually. And then I'll see you in a minute then. I also want to have a look through this pile just really quickly. Just a couple interesting things. This was when I was trying to decide which kind of shed for the narrow gauge railway I'd like to use. The mid-Sodor shed or the season 4 kind of, you know, end of season 4 shed. I have decided now, obviously. This was little sketches when I was trying to decide whether I wanted Crovan's Gate or Tidmouth, and that kind of just developed into this old plan. That's what Knapford Station was originally going to look like, with the 3 roofs instead of 4, but that's changed now as well. I'm using the Pico overall roofs for that, by the way. This was when I got bored one day and I built I designed an alternate layout. Not really happy with that, so that's obviously not going to be built. And this was my planning for the stations I was going to have. This was going to be Knapford, then Wellsworth, then Elsbridge, Tidmouth Holt, Lower Sudbury, Farquhar, and then Brendam. This was originally Dryore as well down here, but I had to get rid of Dryore, there just wasn't enough space. But that's all changed a little bit, the tracks have changed and everything, so that's now irrelevant. This was designing the clay pits, which has also changed. That was me trying to decide what I wanted in certain places and whether it looked good or not. And that's probably irrelevant now. That I think I did to work out the tables I was going to use. See these big squares? These are all like the IKEA 120 by 60 tables. Hopefully I'm not going to use them because they're really expensive for like 8 of them or whatever I need. And then I've got the big like multiple page spread, which I'm not going to show you exactly now, but later I will. This was the very first plan I drew for the railway. Just really, well, okay, yes, first plan. Very, very, basic. This was years ago as well. Tidmouth Sheds, that shed to the side of Tidmouth Sheds, continue down to Knapford, then you'd go down to Wellsworth, and this would be Henry's Forest down here, then Elsbridge, and then Crosby, and then Brendam Docks, and then Gordon's Hill, and the inside would have Tidmouth Holt and Meathwaite, and then you'd have Dryore and Farquhar as well. But that was way too big, but I have kind of stuck to that idea, as you may notice when I show you the plans. This was another alternate plan I did, which is just way too big, but I did it for fun really. I knew I was never going to be able to build this. But if I did have the space, I think I would like to build that. It's just, to me it's really cool because you've got Tidmouth Sheds, you've got Tidmouth Station right next to the Tidmouth Sheds. You go down to Knapford Station, then you've got Elsbridge Station, you continue off to the branch line, there'd be the windmill here, this would be Dryore, this would be Farquhar, then you have the quarry, and also around here, this would be Henry's Tunnel, but underneath Gordon's Hill, and so you'd have Wellsworth at the bottom of Gordon's Hill as well. This would be the narrow gauge line in here, that'd be Brendam Docks, and that would be Crovan's Gate. But that's all changed, that's just a, fantasy. This was me planning for the Knapford Yard, seeing what I could and couldn't do, and that's changed a little bit. That was me planning for the incline, which I suppose will still be relevant. Yes, so the lighting's changed, sorry about that, but this is the plan. I drew up the big 6-page plan. Just gonna run you through real quick. This was before I had Trackmaster, so everything was very approximate. We had Tidmouth Sheds up there that would continue down to Farquhar. Sorry, not Farquhar. I keep saying Farquhar. Knapford. Then you'd have this branch going off to the Little Western, where Wellsworth Station was. Then Elsbridge. That would be Tidmouth Holt up there. The big black line, by the way, is a road, which is, subject to change. That's Crosby Station, up to Brendam Docks, that would be Gordon's Hill. And on the inside line, you could have Meathwaite Station, and Tidmouth Holt. And on the inside line, on Farquhar branch line, there'd be Dryore, then Farquhar, then the quarry. That was a very basic plan, which wasn't really planned out well with the proper track pieces, so this was really not going to be able to be built. So this changed, but I just wanted to show you this just to give you an idea of what I started out with. This was the Mark II plan. Now I'm on Mark 21, I think. So anyway.
And real quick, this is the newest plan I've made, which is all I've done is extend Knapford Station's platforms a bit more because it looked too short to me before. And also this track up here was originally coming out a lot more, so that's just straight now, which is a lot simpler. That's basically the only changes. Apart from that, everything else is the same. And this is what my room looks like in the middle of filming anything or making anything. That table is where I keep all my stuff, and that table is where I actually build the layout. Right now I've got sort of a Knapford Junction set up, and that's about it.
So guys, this has been my layout explainer video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it wasn't too boring. I'm going to try and edit this down best I can to try and make it less boring. But if you did enjoy it, then please leave a like, comment any improvements you think of or ideas for me down below in the comment section. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.